In a quiet neighborhood in Houston, Texas, a love story that seemed picture-perfect took a dark and unexpected turn. Michael Andrews and Thomas Green were the epitome of happiness to their friends and family, a couple deeply in love, thriving in their careers, and living their best lives. But behind closed doors, a web of lies, deceit, and betrayal was quietly unraveling. Michael's life would change forever after one fateful trip that Thomas took. The shocking revelation that followed would expose a dangerous secret, shattering Michael's trust and leaving an entire community stunned. Today on True Crime Files, we take a deep dive into the haunting case of love, betrayal, and consequences. What Michael did next would shock everyone. This is True Crime Files. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more gripping stories that explore the darkest corners of human nature. Let's start at the beginning. Michael Andrews was 34 years old, a successful software engineer living in Houston. He was known by friends and colleagues as a kind, hardworking man who valued loyalty and honesty above all else. Michael had always dreamed of finding true love, and when he met Thomas Green, he believed he'd found it. Thomas, a 32-year-old freelance graphic designer, was charming, outgoing, and adventurous. His charisma was magnetic, and people were naturally drawn to him. Michael was no exception. The two met at a charity event in 2016. Sparks flew instantly. Their connection was undeniable, and within a few months, they were inseparable. Michael adored Thomas's spontaneity and zest for life, while Thomas found comfort in Michael's stability and unwavering support. In 2018, after 2 years of dating, Michael proposed. Their wedding was a beautiful, intimate ceremony surrounded by friends and family. It seemed like a fairy tale, but like many fairy tales, this story had a dark twist. Friends and family admired their relationship, but some noticed subtle differences between the two. Michael was a homebody, enjoying quiet evenings with a book or a movie. Thomas, on the other hand, loved socializing and often stayed out late, attending parties and networking events. These differences, while seemingly minor, would later play a significant role in their story. By 2020, the world had changed. The pandemic forced many to stay home and reevaluate their lives. For Michael and Thomas, this meant spending more time together than ever before. While Michael welcomed the change, Thomas seemed restless. Then came the trip to New Orleans. Thomas claimed it was a work trip, a client meeting that couldn't be done remotely. Michael, trusting as ever, encouraged him to go, but that trip would mark the beginning of the nightmare. A few weeks after Thomas returned from his trip, Michael started feeling unwell. At first, it seemed like nothing more than a seasonal bug, fatigue, fever, and night sweats, but as the days went by, his condition worsened. Concerned for his health, Michael decided to see a doctor. After a series of tests, he received news that would shatter his world. He had tested positive for HIV. Michael was devastated. How could this happen? He had been in a committed monogamous relationship with Thomas for years. The only possible explanation was that Thomas had been unfaithful. At first, he couldn't believe it. He tried to rationalize the situation, convincing himself that there must be some mistake. But deep down, he knew the truth. He had to confront Thomas. When Michael finally gathered the courage to confront his husband, Thomas's reaction was unexpected. He denied everything. He claimed he was faithful and suggested that Michael must have contracted the virus elsewhere. But Michael wasn't convinced. Something didn't add up. Determined to find the truth, Michael began his own investigation. He combed through Thomas's emails, text messages, and social media accounts. What he found confirmed his worst fears. There, in black and white, were messages between Thomas and another man, explicit conversations, plans to meet in New Orleans, and photos that left no room for doubt. Thomas had been unfaithful, but that wasn't the most shocking part. In those messages, Michael discovered something even more horrifying. Thomas had known about his HIV-positive status for months and had deliberately kept it a secret. For Michael, the betrayal was unimaginable. The man he loved and trusted had not only been unfaithful, but had knowingly put his health at risk. With the evidence in hand, Michael contacted a lawyer and the authorities. He was determined to hold Thomas accountable for his actions. The police launched an investigation, interviewing both Michael and Thomas, as well as the man Thomas had been seeing. The case quickly gained attention in the local media. People were horrified by the story. It wasn't just a case of infidelity, it was a crime. Thomas's decision to hide his HIV status and engage in unprotected relationships put multiple lives at risk. During the investigation, more shocking details emerged. It turned out that Thomas had a history of reckless behavior and risky encounters. Several people came forward claiming that they too had been involved with Thomas without knowing his health status. The prosecution built a strong case against Thomas, arguing that his actions were deliberate and reckless. But Thomas's defense team painted a different picture, claiming that he was in denial about his diagnosis and didn't intend to harm anyone. The courtroom was tense. Michael testified, describing the emotional and physical toll Thomas's actions had taken on him. His words were powerful and heartfelt. In a poignant moment, he said, "I loved him, I trusted him, and he destroyed my life." The jury deliberated for hours before reaching a verdict. Thomas was found guilty on multiple counts, including aggravated assault and endangerment. The judge in his sentencing remarks called Thomas's actions a gross violation of trust and a crime of unspeakable selfishness. Thomas was sentenced to 25 years in prison. As the sentence was read, there was a palpable sense of relief in the courtroom. Justice had been served. But for Michael, the pain lingered. He knew that his life would never be the same. Despite the outcome, questions remained. Why did Thomas hide his status? Was it fear, shame, or something more sinister? And how many more victims were out there, unaware of the danger they had been exposed to? These unanswered questions continue to haunt those affected by the case. But one thing is clear: trust is a precious thing. And when it's broken, the consequences can be devastating. The case of Michael Andrews and Thomas Green serves as a chilling reminder of the importance of honesty and transparency in relationships. It's a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and the devastating consequences of deception. What would you do if someone you trusted put your life at risk? How far would you go to seek justice? Thank you for watching True Crime Files. If this story resonated with you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the darkest corners of human nature. And remember, trust is a fragile thing. Handle it with care,